All right, welcome to the Untitled Movie Podcast. We are back in the building. Ravey Rave, how you doing?
Good evening. I'm doing quite well. How are you?
Good. I can't complain. We had to do like two pauses on this one because Scott has got some issues with this film. Go ahead, Scott, how you been doing before you jump into your general description before we jump into the movie?
Oh man, I'm doing good, man. You know, chilling, trying to stay warm around here.
Yeah, we're not in Texas, so that's all, you know.
Yeah. Shout out to Texas.
I was reading that people are like not wanting to move to they said this could be catastrophic for people moving, like the whole like Texas expansion.
Yeah, I mean, you have 3 million people being out of power. That does that.
And look, they got their own power grid. And they have their own power grid. Like I guess that they've had less power than people for like the last 2 decades. But like they just hope that everybody doesn't turn their power all on at the same time, but charging everybody. So they're basically making money on less power than they can provide for all the people of the state.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And they use Mexico sometimes. They'll be like, yo, can we use some of y'all power grid real quick?
Yeah, I mean.
And then West Texas got on New Mexico's power grid 5 years ago. They were like El Paso and stuff. They were like, no, we good. We finna get on this other power grid.
Hey, look, gambling is all fun and games until you lose.
And when you lose big, huh?
Yeah. Hey, you bet that rent, that mortgage payment, all of a sudden, now it's a problem.
And when you flipped it a fefew times, you thought, oh, this ain't nothing.
Right, exactly, yeah. Why don't everybody do this? Well, because sometimes.
Hey, you ain't lying, because they flipped that mortgage payment a whole bunch of times. Like, man, we do this every month.
Right. That's the way to live, you know? Like this
it's splurging on the other half.
Right. Then when you crap out, then all of a sudden you scratch your head. Now
All right, we are reviewing Judas and the Black Messiah. Scott, go in. You had issues at the beginning. Let's go ahead and get out the way with the film.
Yeah.
Before you even watched.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but I am in fact that guy. And so, you know, I'm not necessarily particular about non-ADOS actors playing roles in Hollywood. Like that doesn't bother me. But I do think that there are certain biopics that we need to be mindful of how important they are to a demographic of the audience. And Harriet Tubman and Martin Luther King and Fred Hampton. It's like those characters and those people, their histories mean a lot more to one demographic of the audience to another. And just simply having the same skin complexion isn't good enough. And I find it interesting that, you know, we take an actress for the Nina Simone biopic, she didn't have the right complexion. And so people had an issue with someone playing, as much as I love Nina Simone, I have 8 of her albums right behind me, but you know, she's a singer, she's an entertainer. And so to have that same level of integrity about her complexion being important enough in her biopic, but then to have people, particularly when they came out with the Harriet Tubman biopic, she had never even heard of Harriet Tubman before. And I think that plays an important role in, you know, how those stories get told and the impact that they have by having them played by actors who grew up knowing, who these people were, you know, what their stories were, what their struggles were, and what it meant to, you know, what their sacrifices meant to really all of us at large. You know, these are the bodies that laid the groundwork that allows people of color from other nations to come here and get, you know, Title IX scholarships and get minority-based loans and to get, you know, access to funds that were fought and died for by these other, you know, historical figures. And so I think that I really it took me a long time to actually get up the energy to watch it, knowing that, you know, Fred Hampton wasn't being portrayed by an ADOS actor.
Raven, what do you think about Scott's thoughts?
About Scott's thoughts or about the movie or both?
Scott's thoughts, and then we're going to jump into the movie.
Sure. I'm on the other end of the spectrum with concern about British actors and actresses playing American figures. I have a real issue with cultural appropriation and white actors playing Black characters, like when Joseph Fiennes played Michael Jackson, or when Angelina Jolie played, I'm forgetting her name now, but the Black woman whose husband was killed in Pakistan.
Oh yeah, and I know you're talking about, and then in Pay It Forward, that kid was to be a Black kid too in the original book.
Yeah, I mean, there's countless examples. So I have a real issue with, and I had an issue with Zoe Saldana playing Nina Simone. But we're talking about Black people playing Black people, and when we're talking about this movie. And I'm not as bothered that Daniel Kaluuya doesn't have the same nationality. That doesn't mean that he does not have a Black experience that includes oppression. So I'm just not as concerned about it. Out of all the stuff I've seen him in, this was his best performance. I thought he portrayed Fred Hampton very well. I didn't think he did a disservice to Fred Hampton or his story. So I was not concerned at all that he's a British actor playing an American.
Can I ask you a question though?
Sure.
So what was your issue with Zoe Saldana playing another American entertainer then?
So Zoe Saldana, from my understanding from reading a lot of her interviews, is that she doesn't identify as Black at all. She identifies more as Latina. So somebody who doesn't even recognize the Black experience as a part of her life, playing a dark-skinned Black man who that was very much a part of her identity, that bothers me. It's a little bit more than just acting there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in the middle. Actually, I think it's a case-by-case basis of like what the actor is and what they're bringing to it. Like every interview I read with David, not David Oyelowo. Oh man, now I'm blinked out. The guy that played Fred Hampton. Why can't I just think of his name now? Shoot.
Daniel Kaluuya.
Daniel Kaluuya. And he knew about everything about Fred Hampton and stuff from like high school. And like, if you all ever get a chance, there is a show on Showtime. It got stopped. It's on the Black Panthers in London, and like how the Black Panthers were, they had a chapter in London. So I didn't have necessarily issues. I do have issues with it when, like, in the Cynthia Erivo situation with Harriet, that was just, the movie was a shit show to me in general.
Yeah.
Just a bad movie overall, and that the fact she didn't know anything and all that, just, you have a thin line. You have a thin line if you don't have any consciousness about what it is with these people, who they are, and what their feeling is, and that's where it is. Even if like in what going to Raven, actually, I'm probably more a Raven then, because if you go with even the Zoe Saldana thing, even if she was a Black person portraying Nina Simone and didn't know who she was and didn't respect her accordingly, I would feel the same way. So it really doesn't depend on the British. To me, it's like how they represent the person.
Right. What research did they do? Mm-hmm. How much did they learn about the act or the character's life? Yeah, did they tell them appropriately?
But I think, and that's where, and I admit that, that's my bias, is that these aren't characters. These are actual historical figures whose sacrifices wind up leading and paving the way for monumental change that happened, for our benefit in the country.
So you've been okay if Cuba Gooding Jr. played Fred Hampton just because he was American Black?
I would have been more okay. And here's the thing.
No disrespect to Cuba Gooding was saying that either. I'm just saying.
No, right. And I'm saying that I just on the surface level, yes. And again, there's not a ton of people that fall into this category. Like I wouldn't feel the same way about someone playing Barack Obama, but because I feel like at the time Barack Obama became president, the world knew who he was, the world understood who he was on the stage. What wound up happening historically in America, immigration by non-whites in America before 1964 was virtually zero. Mm-hmm. So it was the actual implementation of the civil rights movement that allowed, people of color from other countries, free travel to come to this country. So it's not as if, the simple fact is that, we're all Black today, but in 1963, we weren't all Black. It was, you were Black in your country, you're Black in America, and it was primarily just Adolf's people, on that front line. It wasn't this rainbow coalition of just people of color from all over the country, because it wasn't until that fought had been won and that battle had been won that immigration policy that allowed other people of color to come over here and actualize their version of the American dream. So I think that being conscious of, those things and how we got to this point, I mean, I for his credit, I think he did a good job. I'm not saying he did a poor job. I just feel like if you tell me you're doing a biopic of Martin Luther King and it's not an American Black person doing it, it just rubs you the wrong way.
So if it was Lance Gross playing Fred Hampton, it'd have been okay?
I'm not familiar with Lance Gross. Who is that?
Lance Gross, the actor?
Yeah, I don't know people's names that well.
I mean, see, he was in a whole bunch of Medea stuff. That's kind of what I don't know.
Yeah, lost me there.
Yeah, I've never.
You don't know who Lance Gross is either, Raven?
I do know who Lance Gross is. But okay. If Medea is the credit that you're giving him,
right? But I'm saying, but he's saying it doesn't matter as long as it's a Black American person. Like, I
don't think that's what Scott's saying. I think he'd still want a good actor to play the character.
I'm not saying I would have done a better job. I'm just saying, I'm not familiar enough with his work. I'm not saying I would have done a better job just because I'm.
And I'm not hating on you, Lance. I'm not hating on you, Lance. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing out there random Black actors.
I'm saying there's an entire country full of Black people who could adequately play, there are enough actors from Chicago who could adequately portray, the intensity of Fred Hampton, in the 70s, having grown up and seen that and experienced that. And I feel like that experience has some value. And again, I'm not saying that this applies to every Black person that's ever lived in America. I am saying that there are a few that, on that Mount Rushmore of Blackness that if a Black person from Wales plays Malcolm X, I'm gonna feel a type of way. Like I just am, I'm just gonna feel a type of way about it, it's just
not a lot of Welch brothers, but I get your point.
Yeah, I thought about this and knew what Black actor, a Black American actor would I think, sorry, I had some drinks before this, I can't talk. What Black American actor would have played him well? And I actually like Ashton Sanders, who was in the movie playing Jimmy Palmer. Mm-hmm. But I just don't think that he has enough experience.
And he's not old enough. He's not old enough, it feels like, to
no, so
Fred
that's what I was
young.
No, Fred was only 21. That's
I know, but still, you kind of gotta have somebody that acts older. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if we want to talk about truly portraying who Fred Hampton was, then why not get an actor who was also the age that he was, so that you can appreciate how intelligent he was to be that young.
What's my guy from Waves, Raven?
From Waves? From Waves and Lucid. Yeah, oh my God, why am I forgetting
that dude? What about him? He might have been good too.
Calvin Harrison Jr. Yeah, he could have been good.
Didn't he play in the Trial of the Seven or whatever?
I still haven't seen that.
He played Stanfield in there.
Oh, he did. I don't know. I would have thought y'all would say he was too light skinned.
He was too old, but he was good.
Really? How old is Calvin Harrison Jr. is not that old.
No, he's got to be no more than 25.
Really?
Yeah. Did you see Waves, Scott?
Not Waves, but I saw the Trial of the Chicago 7.
Yeah, he's got to be no more than 25. Let me see.
I'm gonna look it up to be sure, because I agree with Scott. He does look a little bit older. But yeah, so let's talk. Who else do you think could have played him?
Honestly, I thought Lakeith Stanfield could have played him.
So Lakeith Stanfield originally thought he was going to play.
Yeah, that's what he thought. He thought exactly.
When he got the script, he's like, I'll be playing Fred Hampton. And the Lucas brothers like, no, you'll be playing O'Neill. And he said, what the fuck? I hate that dude. How am I supposed to do this?
Right.
Kelvin Harrison Jr. is 26 years old, which means he's, I think, the same age as Daniel Kaluuya.
No, Daniel Kaluuya is 31.
Oh, is he? Oh, that's right. Lakeith Stanfield is younger.
Lakeith Stanfield is 29, I think. Something like that. He's 90 or 91, something like that.
Yeah, 29. He's 29.
Yeah.
Yeah, but his character was only 17.
Yeah, I know.
So I think it would have been interesting to see younger actors play these characters, or these people, so that we could truly appreciate their youth and intelligence.
But what's interesting is, I think these are the younger Black actors right now to a certain extent, because back in the day we would have saw Denzel play Fred. Like those are in our minds are trained for those old. Don Cheadle would have played Lakeith's role, and we would have been like, oh yeah, that's standard. That's what we gonna do. I think these are the next younger actors. That's the funny thing. And that's the thing I thought it was cool about it, that there was no actors that people really knew that were in there. Besides Daniel Kaluuya, really. I mean, I think he's known more and more
too.
I think I think Daniel Kaluuya's more known mainstream than Lakeith is, right? Because
I don't know.
Because
a lot of white people like it out.
I was thinking,
and don't forget, and also, Atlanta too. So there's a completely different segment of the audience who's going to follow him because of and then Atlanta has Childish Gambino, so he has a different following than a lot of mainstream artists do. So
Kaluuya's got Get Out. He's got Get Out, and so is Lakeith in there too. But then Kaluuya's got, what was the movie with the wives in it with The Kitchen? Is that The Kitchen? The one with Viola Davis in it?
Hated that movie, yes. So horrible. Watching Viola Davis and Liam Neeson kiss.
No chemistry. Like no chemistry.
Like, we're supposed to believe this. And we know Liam Neeson is still alive. He ain't gonna be in any movie for 5 minutes.
That ain't part of his contract. All right, overall, what did you all think about the film?
Ladies first.
I thought the film itself was good. Sadly, this is not a story that I was too familiar with. I remember learning about it briefly in African American history in college and thinking, whoa, that's fucked up. So it was intense. It was really intense. I watched it on Saturday night with my boyfriend, my white boyfriend, the night before Valentine's Day. Anytime I watch anything racially charged, I'm just mad at him. No rational reason. And I mean, I was upset afterwards. And I wanted to do all this research and watch every interview. And he was like, it was just a movie. And I was like, fuck you. No, it wasn't. This really touched me. Like this hurt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's how I responded to the movie. Like I said before, Daniel, I think this was his best performance ever. I think he gets better with everything that he does. But I was really impressed with him. I was impressed with how he adopted Fred's accent. His cadence of speaking, everything. I thought he did an awesome job. Lakeith did excellent too. He said he had to seek therapy afterwards. I can see why.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was very well done. Even like Martin Sheen, I'm like, his role was so tiny, but he did a great job of portraying Henry Ford. Yeah, Jesse Plemons, who I'm a big fan of too, I thought did an awesome job. Yeah, the story was intense, man. And it hit me in the heart. And I know Scott was pissed off last week. And
that's why we couldn't watch.
Last night, I'm sorry, and I get it. Yeah, it was hard to watch, but very good.
Scott.
I thought the movie was well done. I think it hit all the emotional points that the targets that they were attempting to hit. I think they did an excellent job on that. With all my complaints about his country of origin, I think Daniel did an amazing job in his portrayal. To Raven's point with the accent and cadence. I thought the movie was overall really well done. I can't think of any dull spots or missing notes from an acting perspective. I thought the story moved along at a really nice pace and progression. It will emotionally charge you, then it back off of it enough for you to catch your breath. So I think it was a really good movie. But again, it hits all those notes and those sensitive parts in our culture, and it kind of brings it all back in the forefront. And as horrible as it is to see this depiction of the violence that happens in the 70s, and you look around, you go, it's not much different. It's like that expectation isn't much different than it was back then. And so for all the progress we've made, we haven't really come that far, because in 2020, people are rioting in the streets for what? The police and their treatment of people of color, particularly ADOS. So it's 40 years later, and we're still pretty much 45 years later, we're still pretty much the same place we were then.
Well, I have to say, first of all, that I hated this movie and loved it at the same time. So y'all gonna probably like, why did I hate it? The reason I hate it is that me and Teddy wrote this script 6 years ago, literally.
Really?
This exact movie, you're damn near.
A lot of get it out.
So, but the difference was when me and Teddy came from the angle of it, because I learned about this guy when I was in like high school, like into high school, I heard about Paul Neal, and then because I saw, so background, the guy that did Eyes on the Prize went to SLU High, so like they used to make us watch it, or whatever.
Watched it in high school too.
Yeah, so they made us watch it, and I remember this dude O'Neal. I was like, yo, and then you research and find out, because back then for as younger listeners, you had to go to the library and go look up the paper to see like what happened to this person, and you find out that he runs in traffic to kill himself, and that was the second time he tried. That he tried to kill himself by running into traffic. And everybody knows about Chicago. He's in Maywood in the 1990s. That's like being in North County in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a upscale Black area where people are kind of trying to be upperly mobile, middle class section. And so it's like, what was his mental gymnastics that he was going through? Because he was in witness protection for a while. Then him and his wife leave it. They get divorced. He has a 9-month-old son when he kills himself. So that kid right now is 39 years old, 38 years old, or no, 31 or 32 years old now. So we were coming from the perspective of everything was going to be from O'Neal's perspective. So everything the film's going to start with him getting hit by the car, and like going into a whole thing of like, I'm going to tell you why I'm laying here dead. And then it was going to go into his story about how he became a snitch, because there's he was a snitch longer than that after Fred Hampton died. So we were going to go into like him continually snitching, like not just Fred, but his continual snitching throughout the whole time. So that's why I hated it, but I really loved it at the same time. I just hated it. That was a personal thing. But I thought
what's the name of your movie going to be?
We didn't have a title. It was going to be called O'Neal.
I think you can still do that story.
Snitch would have been great.
Yeah, I think
we still have it written. I mean, you
can still do that story, because I would like to see something from his perspective, and the work that he did as an informant even after Fred Hampton's death. And I understand he was haunted and he committed suicide, but you don't see that. Like what?
And they didn't show that he was still a snitch. Like it'd have been kind of dope. Me and Teddy was arguing about it, but we re-argued about our script after watching this. Because he's like, man, they should have shown a scene with him showing back up at the office right after Fred getting killed. Like, dang, I heard what happened. And like, he's continuing on to be this snitch. Like they made it look like he just got this gas station on the west side of Chicago and he was good. He was just living.
Right. Yeah. At what point is he actually affected by what he did, like in his life? I'd love to see his story about that.
Yeah, and it's not a lot of information out there about him. So we was going to make up shit, like about like kind of what we thought that he went through.
May want to edit that part out of this podcast.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, there was it was a great movie. It was to me, but it had some missing plot points. Historically, it was some stuff that was wrong. The 1970 murder at the New Haven, Connecticut, that was in 1970, not 1969. So that all that stuff that happened with that Panther that came from New Haven, that didn't happen at all, because it couldn't have happened because it happened in 1970. That whole thing happened in 1970. And the ill thing about that guy was he's still in jail. That guy did get locked up. He was trying to say that Bobby Seale directed him directly to kill this guy. But everybody that did kill him was like, no, he told us to go kill this guy. So nobody really knows if he was a FBI plant. And like nobody really kind of knows, so they took a lot of and that's fine with that. We're taking some liberties with that character with that. Now that was like one of my only one of my small historical issues.
Well, it's an event that happened, just not the timing of it.
Right. And because it made it feel like I get why they put it in there, because it showed like, oh, he wasn't the only snitch in the Black Panther Party. And I think that was what that was being used to convey or whatnot.
Yeah.
So, what did you guys think about everybody's performances? Well, you already said yours. I think Daniel Kaluuya's performance was on point. Like, I think it was totally A1. And another part of the reason I loved his performance is Fred Hampton Jr. was on the set every day of them filming this movie. So really? That's a part of me was like, if he was on the set every day and they let this, and his mom was on the set every other day because she's older. Man, I kind of got to rock with it, and I can't really give it any discredit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I wasn't aware of that. So
yeah, Fred Hampton Jr. was on the set every day, and the crazy thing is, Ryan Coogler met him before he blew up. So like, Fred Hampton Jr. was in Oakland, like doing the community work. Ryan Coogler was in graduate school and was like, hey, what's up, man? And they just talked for a long time. And then, you know, Black Panther dropped. Then he was like, oh, I can go back and do this because now I got some clout. And Fred Hampton like, yo, yeah, I remember you from the organizing and blah, blah, blah. And you know how Ryan Coogler talk, you know, though, you know, I saw him and everything, you know what I mean, around the way, you know, and I just saw him just go get some macaroni. You feel me? You feel me? And that's what basically what happened. And Fred Hampton Jr. was on board, and it took them, because he's the executive producer of it, so it took them 6 years to do this. Yeah, it was a long time. Because they said it was so many worse scripts than that out of there, because I guess the biggest thing that people were trying to say was that it was, I guess people would have hated Me and Ted's movie because people were like, this is supposed to be more about Fred Hampton. But I thought that was the whole point. This is not a Fred Hampton biopic.
That's true.
It doesn't say Fred Hampton story. It's Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah.
So that was kind of, you know, my kind of general thoughts, especially when other people were talking about, oh, it's, you know, it's about the snitch. That was the point of the film to me, was to be about from the snitch's perspective. And that was the only thing that maybe, since me and Ted did a lot of research, I just wanted to show more of his anguish with it. And he was a very big capitalist. I wanted to show more of his his like, yo, it did a little bit showing he was about that bread, but I mean, like, he was about that bread for real. Like, he was like, okay, well, if you want me to do this, he had almost like a list. They said, I was reading, like, each one of these different things I'll do is a different price for him. Like a menu of snitching.
Yeah, so the Lucas brothers had an interesting interview with Lakeith about this, because they're like, think now, if a 17-year-old young man, like living during the civil rights era, when there aren't like a whole lot of options, you're faced with going to prison and the feds offer you a deal, what are you gonna do?
And they're gonna pay you.
And they're gonna pay you. What are you gonna do? You think you don't have any other options? You're 17 years old.
Yeah, I mean, as I heard side note, the Lucas brothers writing this was amazing to me. That turn from them being like stand-up comedians, and like comedic writers, to that, like, it made me change my whole perspective of respect for them. I had to double take when I saw their name, and I was like, no, those are, I was like, it must be some white guys they call the Lucas brothers, right? And I was like, oh, it's the real Lucas brothers.
Yeah, what is that? I know they did like 22 Jump Street. Like, what?
Yeah, and then if you guys ever watch Sherman Showcase, y'all ever watch that?
Absolutely.
Oh, you know, they was a dudes in the boat. The boat. That's my story. Have you ever watched The Raven?
I have not. No.
You Raven, watch Sherman. It's basically a parody of Soul Train.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Oh, okay, all right.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious. So they do the performances, everything. Like, it's literally like Soul Train, but like it's a parody. It's a Don Cornelius guy, you know. So you know Diallo Reed, the writer, light skinned dude with the big fro.
Yeah.
But he's one of the writers on there. I mean, he's on one of the writers. He was on that show with Marlon. Obviously, he was Marlon. But no, the Lucas brothers are on there with what's the name of that song, that boat song on there, man, that they own, man. That song's hilarious.
Yeah, my memory's terrible, but
yeah, I'm trying to remember that boat song, man. But
Sherman Showcases are definitely a must see. Like, it's must see. Like, it's real.
It's a whole Spotify playlist on just the songs you can listen to.
Sherman Showcase on the list. Yeah. When I first started watching and I saw Martin Sheen, I'm sorry, I think I said Henry Ford earlier because I've been drinking. J. Edgar Hoover that he was playing. And it had a whole Departed feel at first. And he was also in The Departed. And so, yeah, that's where my mind went in the beginning of the movie. But another actor that really impressed me, what is her name? Dominique Fishback. Is that her name?
Yeah.
They really threw me for a loop because she played a 14-year-old in Powers.
Yeah, and she was in that horrible ass movie, The Hate You Give.
Oh, that's right, she was in that.
Yeah, Daryl and I hated that movie. We understand, and the rest of the country and it hated it. But yeah, no, she's doing. I'm proud of her. I act like I know her, but I'm proud of her. She did a great job playing Deborah Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, she looks just like her too, damn near. They had her looking. If you look at the pictures of his mother, I mean, Fred Hampton Jr.'s mother, like, they damn near look just alike.
I saw in the interview that Fred Hampton Jr. was on set. Did Deborah Johnson, did she participate too?
She came by every now and then. She wasn't much because she's a little bit older. You know, she's older, and she was like, she couldn't make it to set every day.
Fred
Hampton Jr. was there every day.
Did you ever see her in the Deuce? Is it Deuce?
Yeah, she plays one of the hookers on the Deuce.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I always get, I always get her and Cynthia Erivo like mixed up when I visually see them, because I thought that was her in what was the battle at the Royale one bad night at the Royale Hotel. Did y'all ever see that? Where it was like 12 different people come to a hotel one night and everybody don't make it out type thing. It was actually pretty good.
Familiar, but I don't know it by that name.
Was it good? It sounds good.
It was good. No, it was good. It was good. It's not like a action. It's action, but it's more drama action. Kind of think of it like a Usual Suspects kind of feel to it, but just in a hotel. So all these characters making a hotel and it's money there, and then like all this stuff happens. But I get them confused. Her and Cynthia Erivo, they got the same exact kind of look to me.
Yeah, that's
both good.
So what do you all think about the direction in here from what's the brother's name? Shaka King.
Raven, you want to go first?
I mean, I thought it was great. Based on the performances and portrayals that we've talked about, I thought it was great.
It's Bad Times at the El Royale Hotel. If anybody wants it, if at the El Royale, if y'all want to check it out.
Okay.
I think the direction was like super good, especially the colors and the way a lot of the shots were, and a lot of the scenes, like particularly when he was like running. And he's the shot, and he's trying to run and trying to get in the car, and then it looks up, and the guy puts the knife in the top of the sunroof to cut it open. Like those little small things like that was good. And surprised, I think this is his brother's first feature film as well.
Well, I didn't know that. I thought the direction was really good. I mean, he had a lot of homages to Spike Lee in some of his panning scenes, particularly in the final scene when he pans through that one single pan through the apartment. It kind of felt like, the reverse of that Spike Lee, that Spike Lee rolling pan, he does. And so I got that was, at least to me, kind of had similarities and kind of an homage to Spike Lee at some points. I think he did a really good job with the pacing of it. I think, the kind of setups, he didn't really spend a lot of time with Lakeith Stanfield's actual turmoil, but he kind of brought it to the forefront every time he met up with Jesse. What's his last name?
Plemons.
Plemons, yeah, thank you. But every time they met up, he showed how that relationship escalated from both ends. So from on one end, there's this continual pressure from Lewis to do more and more and more for the FBI, and then Plemons is also getting this pressure from the FBI to get more and more and more, and then they both kind of have this stalemate when they're with each other, and which battle of wills wins. At the beginning of it, it was much more to Lewis's, I guess, edge, because he's talking about the money he's getting, he's talking about why you got to pay me, and what he's willing to do, and get me out of here. And then toward the end, he realizes he's on the hook, and he doesn't really have any of the leverage that he thought he had in the first place, or that Plemons is actually playing better poker by that point in time, realizing who he was dealing with and how vulnerable he was to the situation that he found himself in. And so I thought he did an excellent job without a lot of words and without hitting you over the head with it, showing that kind of tension, that increased tension up to the point where it burst. And I think that's why he also ended the movie the way he did, because it gave a really good parallel to how their relationship was established at the beginning to how it culminated at the end. If you go back and still have him snitching, for another, several years, then it kind of takes away from the tension that he built throughout the movie.
Yeah.
That climax. So, yeah.
It's Newlyweds is his other movie too, though, y'all, that Shaka King did. If y'all ever saw Newlyweds.
I haven't seen that either.
About the couples with weed. It came out 2013. I saw it, but I very vaguely remember it.
There was a show he did called High Maintenance too that I watched a couple episodes of.
Okay. I must see out. Yeah, I'm going to check out some more of his stuff. And you were mentioning Clemons. That I guess they call that's that actor's name is.
You said Jesse Plemons?
Yeah, Jesse Plemons. They call him Fat Matt Damon.
Yeah. Yeah. like Matt Damon.
I know, but they call him Fat Matt Damon. He killed it in here to me though. Like he was good.
He
Like
was
we gotta quit calling him
Friday
Fat
Night
Matt
Lights,
Damon.
right? He was in Friday Night Lights, right?
Was he in Friday Night Lights?
I don't think so.
I think he was in Friday Night Lights. I think he was one of the actual.
He's in Varsity Blues.
Varsity Blues. That's what he was.
Yeah, he's in Varsity Blues.
And he was one of the few actual children that was in that movie. Like everyone else were adults playing.
Yeah, like
kids.
grown. Everybody was 30. And like,
Right,
the
yeah,
only one that was
he
like
was-
actually high school.
Exactly. He was the one actually still age appropriate.
Yeah, that was ill is that the character Plemons that he plays is in the movie Mississippi Burning too.
Oh,
Really?
that same FBI agent.
That same FBI agent is in Mississippi Burning. The
Oh, wow.
movie. So it's like they share a universe because that's what he talks about at the beginning when he's talking about 3 people that in Mississippi that were killed. His character is the one that is one of the characters that bust open the case in Mississippi. Mississippi
Okay.
Burning. Yeah, because people don't know that J. Edgar Hoover hated black people, but he just hated anything that was like not in the middle. So he hated the KKK, he hated all of them. He had snitches all over it. You had an organization for the PTO. He had a snitch in the PTO at your high school.
I mean, they say that, but the KKK is still around, you know.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, is it? The Black Panther Party is still around too, and we say, is it too?
Well, it was reestablished. I'm saying the KKK. I mean,
there's probably
David,
you could probably get more people at your house than the KKK can nationwide.
I don't believe that.
That are card carrying members.
Do you remember America before January 20th?
No. But you're saying card carrying KKK members. I'm talking about card carrying, not just racist people. I'm talking about card carrying Ku Klux Klan members. There are not a lot in this country left.
I think you're not gonna know about them, but I think they're still there. I think there's a very.
You think there's a lot more card carrying? That's a different than card carrying.
Yes, I do. I just think it's secret.
Or
Okay.
they
I just think they're racist, but just not.
Or they call themselves QAnon.
That could be that too. I'm just saying.
Go by many names. They are.
Yeah, but no, J. Edgar Hoover definitely had a fascination more with the Black Panther Party and Black liberation in general. That's because he thought we were closer to communism than any other group of people. He thought that if we got communists, that it would just spread. That's what he claims. And some people, there's some conspiracies that say he was part black. No, Google it. No bullshit. No, I'm talking about real articles.
No, I mean, I've heard some other things before. I felt like that was going to take this conversation.
You weren't ready to go that deep dive yet. What did you all think about the portrayal? I was trying to figure out who the woman, the shorter Panther woman that they were trying to that they portrayed in there, who she was an amalgamation of. They kept saying it was like amalgamation of a couple of different women, but I know that
Judy Harmon, who she played.
Yeah, but that I looked like that person doesn't exist. But the crazy thing. So everybody knows the character that left when Bobby Rush, the character that left when right before Fred got killed that morning, is the only person to beat Barack Obama in a race, a campaign.
Oh, really?
For Congress. Yeah, Bobby Rush is a congressman.
Okay.
He beat Barack Obama, and then shout out to my boy Jeff who beat his son for state rep. I know he'll appreciate that. He beat his son for state rep.
Okay.
But I was thinking about the mentality. Think about Bobby, and then Bobby Rush had to turn himself in 5 days later, even though they shot up their crib. Think about like Scott. That's like if you was over one of your boys' houses and you was like, "Yo, I'm finna go home, kick it with my wife," and everybody in the crib gets shot up like a couple of hours after you left. What survivor's remorse would you have of like, yo, I was literally just there and just dapped up everybody and walked out?
Well, I mean, in the specific situation we're talking about, probably a lot, because there's the notion that we're all there working together for the common good of our people. I mean, let's be honest. There are some situations where you could have left a place and the people get shot up, and you go,
"Oh yeah, no." Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like that trap house was gonna get shot up.
Exactly right. Yeah. Like that's why I left. I left the man about
But in general, I'm talking about somebody's general crib, and then everybody gets shot up.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
What you saying, Raven?
Was Lil Rel's character a real? I mean, he's just credited as Wayne. Who was he supposed to be?
Me and Teddy had another argument about this. I wish he'd have got on here, man. He thinks that was not just another informant like O'Neill. I thought it was another FBI agent.
I thought he was another informant too, but I was like, do they just want to put everybody from Get Out in here? And they thought he just needed a role. I don't know. It just seemed thrown in there. That was one thing I didn't particularly care for.
I mean, Lil Rel's from Chicago too. You gotta remember that as well.
It had nothing to do with him or his portrayal. It was the character and like lack of development and like, yeah.
I think that's trying to show how much tentacles the FBI has, like into everywhere.
I understand that too. It's just the way they introduced it. I'm like, did y'all like run out of money? Like, I don't know. It was too thrown in for me.
So I mean, I figured he was with some type of law enforcement. I don't necessarily know if it was FBI, although the conversation that they had kind of suggested it, because the first thing he said is, "Oh, so they letting brothers in the FBI now." You know, it seemed kind of condescending. But the simple fact is that he had a piece of evidence that only an FBI agent would have had, and so I feel like that, because I feel like that had to have been a relationship more trusted than an informant, because that's a lot of juice to trust an informant with, particularly to play that straight role. Like you'd want somebody who's, like I said, a minimum law enforcement, but probably another groomed FBI agent to handle that particular task.
But I feel like if he was really an FBI agent, there's so few at that time. I feel like everybody would know who the fuck he was.
I mean, the first black FBI agent, I looked it up, was 1910. So black people been in the FBI for like 50 years before that. So it may be way more than we think that was in the FBI then.
Right. And he didn't have to be from Chicago. They could have brought an agent from a different part of the country to come in. Exactly. Yeah. So you bring this agent in for a short period of time just to be able to, infiltrate and observe without, standing out. He doesn't necessarily have connections to the community, so he's not, in certain spaces. But if you put him in a situation like this, a bar or a nightclub, someplace where he wouldn't necessarily, stand out, he legitimately and authentically speaks the language of the people and that culture. So, I mean, he only has to act and make himself known when he had to. I mean, no one suspected anything other than us being familiar with who that actor was about the role of that character until he spoke. So yeah. I mean, in some instances, it's kind of like the weekly cop shows. It's like, well, you watch this show and then you see the special guest star, and you go, oh, they're probably the one who killed this person. Because it's like you're the person I recognize who's down the show week to week. So
and that's kind of the point though, because it seems like just like a character or role that was created for Lil Rel to be in the movie, and probably not historically accurate.
It probably is though. He's cool with Lucas like Brothers. Probably he probably called it, yo, you're going to put me in that movie, right?
Yeah, like that's how it felt.
No. The more you think about it, Ray, like Lucas Brothers probably did get a call from Lil Rel, like, hey, y'all doing a movie in Chicago? Ain't nobody from Chicago in it,
right?
Y'all gonna write me apart. What y'all think about Algie Smith and what's the other brother that we just talked about that was from Moonlight?
Ashton Sanders.
Yeah, what y'all think about Algie Smith? It made me think about that, Skies, what you just said. When he shows up in the movie, I know he's gonna die. He's only survived the New Edition story of any of his stuff he's been in. No bullshit.
Yeah.
Even on TV shows.
Oh wow.
Every interview, I'm like, yo, you dying everything, dog. Like you're like the red shirt in like on Star Trek. Like as soon as you show up, like, oh, he gonna die. And then when he said his name, I was like, dang, he is gonna die, because I knew that character. I'm like, he gonna die. That dude dies in every movie.
Yeah, that young man will make me a true cougar, though. He is, something about that little man is so sexy. And, to me, I just thought it was Rolf Tresvant trying to shoot at some cops. And I was like, this don't seem right. It took me out a little bit with him playing that role. And that's my fault for not giving him the opportunity. I was like, man, Rolf Tresvant need to quit shooting at these white cops. I know that.
I gotta be honest with you. I was so I look at him more as a serious actor now, because it's identifying him as basically as Rolf Tresvant from the New Edition story. It's like, that's one thing. Okay, well, you kind of project the feelings you have about New Edition there. Well, obviously great performers, but more more PG-13, you know, in their content. But you know, he's going out hunting cops, you know, in the middle of a shootout, you know, going back, like stopping, having a chance to get away, going back to actually, you know, do more damage and put in more work. It's like that makes me, you know, this because he was compelling, you know, he was compelling and he was committed to the part. So I mean, I thought he did a really good job.
He doesn't die in Euphoria either. I'm sorry, yeah, he don't die in Euphoria. That's the TV show with Zendaya. He don't die on there. He's still alive on there so far.
He is. Don't give away any spoilers.
I know, but I'm just trying. I mean, hopefully he don't die this next season. If he dies this next season, I'm just gonna be like, dog, like, yo, who's your agent?
Yeah, no, I'm proud of him. Somebody else, I just like watching his career blossom, him and Ashton Sanders. Although he's 26 also, because I was thinking maybe it would have been cool to see them playing those roles. And even though they're close to the same, they're not too much younger than Daniel and Lakeith. They still come across as a lot younger. But I did think about the two of them in those lead roles, and I'm not sure either of them could have pulled it off, but I'm proud of where they're both going in their careers. I really like Algie Smith in Detroit. There's another very intense movie to watch.
I haven't watched it yet.
It was hard. It was hard to watch.
Have you watched it, Scott?
Yeah, I have seen it.
I have not watched it yet. I still got it on DVR. Mm-hmm. It's been on DVR for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. It's angering also.
I still haven't seen Amistad.
Oh no, that one's not that bad as Detroit.
I know that's so like comparatively. Well,
I still ain't seen 8. I mean, was it 12 Years a Slave?
I saw that once. That's one like I don't need to see it again.
Yeah, I can't. I still don't. It's on my DVR too. That's actually the first movie I recorded on this DVR, and I moved in. Was that? And I still haven't watched it. I've been here for 7 years.
hey, there's a certain, you have to be in the mood for certain things, and that's a topic I'm really in the mood for.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And I don't know when. Like every time I am, it's always something new that give me like I may have been in the mood for this, but I'm watching the movie we're reviewing, you know, and I'm never gonna probably watch it.
Yeah. The only slave movie I have watched more than once is Django.
That's different. That's like an action movie though.
I haven't seen that more than once.
You only seen that once?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I watch that at least once a year. Like
I gotta be honest with you, Quentin Tarantino, after Kill Bill 2, he's not made a movie that I feel like I need to watch again.
Oh, I love Quentin. Inglourious Bastards, I probably watched.
Oh, I love that too. I watched that too.
I have never made it through that movie all the way through. I fall asleep during it.
Wow. Give it another chance. I
went to go see it in the theaters twice, fell asleep in it both times. And then like one night, you know, on the couch and watch it on streaming service, fell asleep on it.
Well, it is, I think like over 70% of the movie is in either French, German, or Italian. So yeah.
I mean, it's not that. I mean, I watch anime. I can watch things in subtitles. It's just that it doesn't resonate with me as much.
Fair enough.
All right, what do you all think about some of the final character I'm thinking about is oh man, I can't think of it. Well, we talked about Martin Sheen a little bit as Larry. Do y'all think his makeup was like kind of messed up as Larry Hoover?
I don't know if it was messed up. I thought it was a tad unnecessary. Because I recognize as Martin Sheen. I thought man, but Martin Sheen had plastic surgery at first. So I realized, oh no, they're trying to make him look like J. Edgar Hoover. I go, that was interesting. And, you know, like I think what it is that in 2021, how many people are so familiar with J. Edgar Hoover's face that you had to adjust for his particular face?
I don't even know what he looks like for real. Like, so they wouldn't even. It could have been you, Scott. And like, okay, that's J. Edgar Hoover. I guess he's playing him. Like, all right.
But it's Martin Sheen being Martin Sheen too distracting.
Oh, that's what you're thinking then. But they were like, oh, if he's Martin Sheen in it, then that's a good
like
point.
That's Martin Sheen, not J. Edgar.
Right. And like, man, I'm finna laugh.
But no, I feel like the opposite is the case. I feel like Martin Sheen brings a gravitas to the role that when you see Martin Sheen, like he's the white guy in charge. Like, you know, like if you walk in and have Martin Sheen, the white guy in charge, like, yeah, I buy that. Like, okay,
he's running.
Like, yeah, exactly.
So everybody's last thoughts? What did everybody give it overall?
Are we on a scale of 1 to 5 or 10? I can't remember. 5. I would give it a 4. I give it a solid 4.
What about you, Scott?
3.5, 4 stars sounds about right. Yeah, or 4 might.
4 as well. I think that, I mean, do you think that any awards could be won for this movie? Anybody, any roles that you could...
I know it's nominated for a couple of Golden Globes. If Daniel's not nominated, let me see. What
I mean,
are
they
they?
already played Delroy Lindo.
Yeah, so Daniel
Yeah.
nominated for Best Supporting Actor, and then Her is nominated for Best Song, a Golden Globe, Fight for You. I must admit I don't remember what that song sounded like, but I like Her. So
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, man. I think both of those nods are appropriate.
Yeah.
I actually think he could get a directorial nod. I mean, it doesn't like he did, but I mean, I think was it, you said second movie?
Second movie, yeah. Newlyweds is his first movie.
Yeah, this is an amazing sophomore
Yeah.
project. So you know, I mean, I think that should count for something. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good. I like seeing these type of films though. If you'd have asked me 5 years ago, would a Fred Hampton anything be made? I was like, did white people read the script? Like, that's the first thing I was like, and who got them high to like sign up for this? Because I was like, ain't no way they gonna make anything with Fred Hampton in there besides him having like a guest starring role. So to me, this was, A-okay with me. I was just surprised we even got this far of this film to me.
Ditto.
So with movies not being released in theaters, I don't understand like where the box office money is coming from. Like, what are they considering when they're talking about the box office? Like streaming
worldwide.
Okay, so
some of the theaters in other countries are still open. So
okay, so the opening weekend was $2,070,000, which if it's not even open in theaters, I think is pretty.
Yeah, what's the did it say a budget on there for it?
Let me see. And that was just domestic. I don't see the budget. Let me see.
Let me see. It couldn't have been that much though. I know that. It says a budget of 26.
26 million?
26 million. Yeah. They made that back easy.
So it's a 10% take over the first weekend.
Yeah, and on top of that, you got to think that they're looking at the streaming, the capabilities of it. How many people jumped on, HBO Max or had it already. They look at those kind of analytics as well. So they made good money, man. I mean, Warner Brothers is putting everything on their streaming app this year and theaters. So this is gonna be everything. And I mean, everything is gonna be on there. Mortal Kombat just dropped. That's gonna be on HBO Max in April. Everything they're doing is gonna be on there.
Coming to America March 5th.
We said what's March 5th?
Coming to America too.
That's right. Amazon. Yeah. I'm interested. That trailer actually looked funny to me. The second one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually excited, man. I'm actually excited.
You have me back for the Snyder cut, right?
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. The Snyder cut. The first cut wasn't that good to me. So I don't know. So I don't know if the second is. I don't know. I
mean, it has to be better though, right?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That's like me. That's like you like saying you're gonna redo a date with a woman after the first date. Like my first impression is already there. It's gonna be you're gonna have to go beyond, upper and beyond to impress her probably at this point.
I mean, my first encounter with my wife was terrible.
Okay. He didn't even know her real name for a minute.
What?
Yeah.
What was you calling it in?
We can finish this story after we stop recording.
Okay. I said we don't want to rehash that.
Shout out to Kimmy.
All right, where can everybody hit y'all lit up online?
On Instagram, my Instagram account was mysteriously deleted. So
is that mysterious? Or are you saying it's mysterious? Or do you?
No, I don't like. I woke up one day and it was gone. Like for real, I don't know what the hell happened to it. All my pictures, last 7 years, however long it's been, gone. So I am now quote the Ray Bay.
So did you hit up Instagram and ask them like, did they retrieve it for you?
I did. Nobody ever responded. I don't know what.
Damn. Scott, they probably you don't want anybody to hit you up, do you, Scott?
I don't have social media, so there's nothing there.
Right, there's no point. Right. So all right.
But I will say, so one of the many hats that I wear is a commissioner for the St. Louis County Civil Service Commission, and today I approved a resolution to make Juneteenth an official St. Louis County holiday.
What?
Yes.
So would banks be closed and stuff?
It's an official holiday. Yes, sir.
Oh snap! That's what I'm talking about. Oh,
Yeah.
oh man, we need to get this COVID to be over because we can't even really get it in like we want to for this. You get a day off for real?
Well, if you work for St. Louis County,
Right, that's what I'm saying. I mean, yeah,
a lot of private employers have still not
private employers don't.
But we'll get there.
Yeah, private employees don't give off MLK Day, so I mean,
I don't think I've ever went to work on Juneteenth. I don't think I feel like even I worked at Blockbuster Video as a kid, I don't think I went to work on Juneteenth.
He said Blockbuster Video.
I know, like bagging groceries at the grocery store. Nope. Like, no, not me.
All right, everybody. Thank y'all for listening as always. We'll see y'all soon.
Peace.